All right. Hey, so Dr. Katie here, going into our Kickstart Metabolism. I want to teach in the next maybe 30 minutes how to really work with nutrition, work with what you're eating and when you're eating to jumpstart and kickstart your metabolism. This is an event that I did in our office a few weeks ago, and it was a 2-hour workshop where I really dove into every aspect of this. So I'm going to really try to hit some of the high points here in the next like 30 minutes or so. But metabolism is way more than just weight loss. So diseases that are affected with our metabolism are things like high cholesterol, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, autoimmune conditions, thyroid conditions. These are just like a list of just a few of the things that are affected when our metabolism isn't working right. Things like infertility, arthritis, being tired, chronic pain, and more. So these are conditions that are just epidemic, and more than likely, you may be suffering with some of these problems. And we're going to dive into really what is the root driver of these things and how to help them. With our office, we work with the 5 essentials with our patients. These are the things that I teach you guys, is that how do we work with getting the body healing better, getting it functioning better, and ultimately using these 5 essentials to get to the root cause of the problems. So we work with core chiropractic, getting the body in the best alignment to allow the brain and the body to communicate better, to function properly, and to be able to get your body healing better from the inside. Nutrition, you got to put the right foods in to help to heal the body, and you've got to eliminate a lot of the junk that you may be used to eating. Mindset, working on having a positive mindset, a mindset of health and healing, and being able to get good oxygen into your body through exercise, and then minimizing toxins as well. So with metabolism, how have we damaged our metabolisms? The main thing that's damaged our metabolism is our standard American lifestyle, our standard American diet, the acronym SAD. And why it's SAD is because it's full of too much sugar, too many processed carbohydrates, and too many like refined flours. All of those things, not just sugar, but also too much bread and pastas and crackers and cookies and cereals and a lot of the refined packaged foods will raise your blood sugar levels, and they spike a release of insulin in the body. If you look at the picture here, the first picture, it kind of shows you when you eat these foods that are high in sugar, it kind of creates this perpetual addiction cycle. And every time you eat sugar, your blood sugar raises, and a dopamine response is released in your brain, which makes you feel good, but it makes you very addicted to sugar and processed foods. And your body, every time you eat those things, your blood sugar will rise, and that causes a mass secretion of insulin from your pancreas that gets that blood sugar out of your blood and then into your cells. But your cells can only handle a little bit of sugar at a time. So the excess sugar that your cells can't use for energy is then shuttled and stored as fat in your body, and fat in your liver, and fat in your tissues. And also the excess insulin is then also stored with the fat. It just kind of creates this cycle. And then once that happens, your blood sugar levels drop, and then your body will start to crave sugar again, or refined carbohydrates, breads, pastas, and then you eat them. And then that cycle just kind of keeps continuing. A healthy metabolism should be able to use 2 fuel systems. And the 2 fuel systems should be sugar burner, but also it should be able to use a ketogenic energy system, which is our fat burning energy system. So it should be able to bounce back and forth. If you look at the second picture down there, like the gauge, it's like we should be able to burn sugar, if we eat sugar, but then our body should also be able to flip over and burn fat, burn our fat storages, or burn fat that we eat in our diet. So the problem is that it takes about 8 hours to make the switch after your last meal from sugar burning to fat burning. Meaning that if you ate, a bowl of cereal for breakfast in the morning, or you had 2 pieces of toast or something, and a glass of orange juice, it's like that sugar that you got from that food is that your body's going to be burning that, but then it's going to take about 8 hours after you eat that for your body to naturally want to start to flip over and then start burning your fat storages. The problem is that a lot of people have never gone longer than 8 hours after their last meal before they have their next meal. And that is the likelihood that you've never really maybe had the benefit of flipping over and switching into your fat burning, more of that ketogenic energy system. That energy system is wonderful for brain function. Your brain feels clearer when you're burning fats. You have more energy. Your body really does function better when it's burning more of those ketones or in the fat mode versus kind of always being in that constant sugar mode. So another way to look at this is looking at every time we eat, it causes an increase in our blood sugar. And then that increase in our blood sugar then causes an increase in insulin released in the body from the pancreas. So the more often that you eat, the more insulin is released in your body. And the higher amount of sugar that you eat, or processed carbohydrates, flours, refined carbs, then the higher amount of insulin is released every time. The problem is that constant high levels of insulin in your body are not good. They're not good for your metabolism, and they are not good for pretty much every metabolic function in the body. It leads to what's called insulin resistance, and that can set you up for a whole host of health problems. But then it also leads to that the body being not very metabolically flexible, to where it can't really switch too much from sugar burner back to fat burner, back to sugar burner, back to fat burner. It kind of wants to stay in that sugar burning mode. So when you're out of sugar, then you're going to get all these intense cravings because you're not really flipping to that fat burning mode. Signs that you could have this process going on in your body of insulin resistance are if you kind of have any of these issues going around this chart here. So inability to lose weight, cravings for sugar, if you eat and then you're tired after you eat your meals, if you have achy joints and muscles throughout your body all the time, tired, if you have thyroid issues, if you have issues with polycystic ovarian syndrome, hormone imbalances, high cholesterol, high triglycerides, abdominal fat, obesity, then more than likely you're in this state of insulin resistance, to where your body's releasing insulin, your pancreas is still working, but because you've had constant high levels of insulin because of your diet, is that your cells are kind of tuning that out. And then it's not really, listening to that insulin signal. And then that's what kind of drives that insulin resistance. So why this has happened is because in about the 1990s is when it became the popular thing to eat small, frequent meals throughout the day, where you would have snacks and you'd have small meals and you'd just be kind of constantly eating throughout the day. And the thought behind it is that it would kind of fire up metabolism. But unfortunately, just the opposite is true, is that it was actually quite damaging to the metabolism. Because if you look at the picture where it has like the breakfast, lunch, the dinner, and the snacks, anytime we eat, the body's going to release insulin because it has to get that sugar, even if you're eating healthy foods without a lot of sugars in them, but you're just eating all the time, your body's going to release insulin all the time. And the more that your body's in a high insulin state, then the less likely it is that your body's going to be then going into that fat burning, that ketogenic. You're going to still kind of always be in that sugar burning, glucose burning mode. So that kind of way of eating is not good for metabolism. It's not good for your hormones. It's not good for weight loss. It's not good for a lot of things. So more of a traditional kind of before that became a fad is that traditionally people ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They didn't have a lot of snacking. Families ate around the table, and then they wouldn't, eat much throughout the day. And you see what that allows is that allows for your insulin spikes after you eat, but then it drops. And then it spikes after, you eat lunch, it raises, then it comes back down. And then when you don't eat after dinner, then it goes down real low while you're sleeping and you're in more of a fasting state. Your insulin levels drop low. And that kind of fluctuation of high and then it dips down low, that's more of how our bodies are designed to work. And then insulin stays, the cells stay not resistant to it, but they actually stay very open to those insulin receptors and those signals, and it allows it to function properly. So we want to work on this. We want to work on healing metabolism. About 88% of Americans have metabolic issues because of their metabolism has been damaged because of their diet. So how do we do that? We want to work on a better metabolism. And how do we do it? There's 2 steps. One is that we clean up what we're eating, and then we got to clean up when we're eating. Cleaning up what we're eating is obviously if we know that sugar spikes insulin to go really high, so does also processed carbohydrates, so does processed grains. Then those are the things that we need to really focus on cleaning up. But then we also need to clean up when we're eating. We can't kind of be in this constant state of always feeding the body. We got to start to also get into some of what we call fasting, where the body's without food and it's allowing our insulin levels to come down and our body to start to be able to flip from glucose to fat burning systems with that. So we're going to talk about fasting. If you haven't heard of fasting by now, I think a lot of people have. They've become, more aware of the benefits of fasting, intermittent fasting. So it's not new. It's not something that's kind of a new fad. If you look at kind of the side of the slide, Hippocrates wrote, "To eat when you're sick is to feed your illness." The ancient Greeks would say that the best medicine is to fast. Same thing, Ben Franklin said that. And fasting has been a part of virtually every culture and religion for hundreds and thousands of years. So the different lengths of fasting, a very popular thing is what's called intermittent fasting. That is where your body is in a fasting state between 12 to 16 hours. And in that fasting state, that helps your body to become more sensitive to insulin, and it allows your body to start to get tuned back into becoming in that fat burning system and out of that sugar burning. There's also more advanced fasting, what is called autophagy fasting. That is a state when the body starts to self-heal and self-cleanse, where our cells actually start to heal and repair their damage and start to internally heal themselves after about a state of about 17 hours of fasting. After 24 hours of fasting, our body does a wonderful gut reset. And then 36 hours of fasting, the body really gets into more of a fat burning response. And then 48 hours, it can release a dopamine reset in the brain. It can actually help with mood, energy levels. And then 72 hours can really reset your immune system as well. So, man, the more and more research that comes out about fasting, it's like only positive things happen with that. So, but we're going to talk about kind of just jumping into fasting, and that's what doing the intermittent fasting. What this looks like, if you look at the chart, is it's not even that super hard to do. Is that if you stop eating at 8 o'clock at night and you go till 8 o'clock the next morning, that is 12 hours of fasting. So that's already 12 hours that you haven't eaten, and that's considered a fasting state. And then if you push that eating in the morning, if you don't eat first thing in the morning and you push that till noon, then that equates to a 16-hour fasting state and then an 8-hour feeding state. Another way to look at it, besides calling it intermittent fasting, is they call it time-restricted eating, where you're condensing down your eating window to where you're not eating all day, snacking all day. you're condensing it down to like a 6 or an 8 hour window. And that allows the body to start to heal a lot of this metabolism dysfunction that we see. It helps to make our bodies more sensitive to insulin and get our bodies in more of that fat burning state. And I think this makes a lot of sense because we kind of look at our ancestors way back when they got up in the morning, it wasn't like they had a refrigerator full of food that they could easily kind of get out of bed and go to the fridge and get breakfast. They had to go out and they had to hunt for their food. They had to gather their food. They had to go out, and they may have went hours without eating until they found food. And then once they got their food, they would have feasted. They would have ate it. And then after that, they probably wouldn't have ate much the rest of the day or the rest of the evening until the next day, kind of repeat that cycle. So our bodies are really built for more of that feast and famine versus constantly feasting and eating all the time with that. So this is wonderful for helping to balance your sex hormones. It's great for things like that polycystic ovarian syndrome. It's wonderful for helping to get your metabolism kicked in gear to help your body be able to burn fat better as well too. So this slide is just more about the fasting. You want to kind of start with easing that in over about a 2-week period. You can start with a 12-hour break where you're just kind of focusing on eating breakfast, lunch, dinner, no snacks. And then after you finish dinner, don't eat till breakfast the next day. And then once that becomes easy, then you can start to push back that first meal of the day further and further to where instead of eating at 8, you can push it back to 10. Then you can push it back to 11. Then you can push it back to 12 or even 1 o'clock. And that first meal of the day, if you think about it, breakfast is actually the words break fast. So breakfast doesn't have to be something that you eat in the morning. Your technical break fast, your breakfast, can be that first meal that you eat during the day. And that may not be till 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon with this too. But if you can tighten that window up to around that 17 hours of fasting, that's when they really have found that the body kicks into that autophagy state where the cells start to heal and repair. The body actually starts to eat damaged and diseased cells. And then it really is kind of a self-healing, self-cleansing thing in the body, which is pretty amazing. So when we look at cleaning up what we're eating, we refer to it as we want to work on eating the Max Living Advanced Plan. It is a lot like it's a healthy keto where you're eating good quality fats, good quality proteins. You're not eating pork rinds and bacon and crappy fats. You're eating healthy fats, cleaned up proteins, and then you're still eating good quality vegetables and fruits as well, but we're trying to go low sugar fruits and not super high sugar fruits too. So some key points with the advanced plan is you really want to go no grain, no sugar. No grains means no corn, no wheat, no rice. And you want to try to go what we call grain free, not just gluten free, but trying to really go grain free. No sugar, no damaged fats. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. Naturally raised animal products, lots of healthy fats, low sugar fruits and berries, and lots of vegetables would be what we would consider to be the advanced plan. Good fats, bad fats. Good fats are fats that have not been altered by man. They're in their natural kind of God-given state. So extra virgin olive oil, avocados, avocado oil, coconut oil, raw nuts and seeds, real butter, raw butter is best, but grass-fed organic butter as a minimum. Raw cheeses, same thing, grass-fed organic cheeses and yogurts, and grass-fed meats, eggs, free-range pasture chicken eggs, and whole milks, organic if possible. But the bad fats are the hydrogenated oils, partially hydrogenated oils, cottonseed, soybean, and canola oil, and margarine and synthetic butters, A lot of the spreadable butters, the spray butters, those are going to be considered bad fats, unhealthy fats. But these are found in almost every cracker, bread, cookie, box foods. So a lot of times we're not eating soybean oil, like we don't have a soybean oil, bottle in our kitchen, but that is in tortilla chips, it's in crackers, it's in bread, it's in a lot of the packaged and box foods that we buy at the store. So you got to watch out for those things. Next thing is those bad fats. These are called linoleic acids. They make up about 60 to 80% of the omega-6s. And those are the primary driver for things like heart disease and also even things like cancer. They're poison to our metabolism. Those are the oils that are in like soybean oil, corn oil, cottonseed oil, canola oil, safflower oil. Those are what that we call linoleic acids. And the studies have shown that the more our diet is filled with linoleic acids, the higher our risk for diseases like cancer and heart disease as well. And these have increased in our diets dramatically over the last 15, 20 years with this. So if you read on that paper, the slide, it says over the last 150 years, linoleic acid in the human diet has increased from about 2 to 3 grams 150 years ago to now we consume 30 to 40 grams in our diet. And then we've also seen that it's increased from 1 to 3% of our diet to 15 to 20%. And like I said, this is what's in French fries and potato chips. Most commercial salad dressings have some degree of soybean oil or canola oil in them. And they're even found in conventional meats, obviously fast foods as well too. So these are good foods to be eating. Lemons and limes are wonderful. They help to rejuvenate your skin and help to heal the body. They help your body to burn fat as fuel. Vitamin C improves your immune system. It improves the collagen in your skin, and it's good for your joints. It's good for many things. So lemons and limes are great. They also help your body when you're trying to fast. You can squeeze lemon and lime in water and drink that, and it's wonderful for your body. So lemons and limes are one thing that you can start to, go all out and use as many of those as possible. They're super good for the health of your body. Another really good thing is low carb vegetables. And I'm going to say probably almost all vegetables are good to go, except for corn is not really a vegetable. It is a grain and it is inflammatory. So that is not considered a low carb, healthy vegetable. And that's not something that should be a staple in your diet is corn. That's not really a vegetable. So things like cauliflower, zucchini that you can make zucchini noodles with, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, kale, peppers, lettuce, all super good. Broccoli, asparagus, any type of leafy lettuce, greens, cucumbers, olives, all of these are wonderful. And they should be one of the most abundant things in our diets. Avocados are also a great thing as well too. They're a really good source of fuel for our body. Avocados are rich in potassium and magnesium, and researchers have linked them to improving your muscle strength and your endurance for athletes as well too. They're great for your heart health. They're very good for your hair, skin, and nails. They're good for muscle development, and they also help with aiding in digestion and metabolism. Berries are wonderful. These are one thing that they're super high in antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, and also berries are great for anti-cancer properties and good for everything. So berries are great. Blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, blackberries. They should be a staple in your diet as well. They're very anti-inflammatory and very good in preventing damage and disease in our body. Eggs are another wonderful thing. Eggs are high in vitamin A, D, and E. They're also, egg yolks are high in protein and nutrients. So you want to eat the whole egg yolk included. Eggs are great for B vitamins as well too, zinc, choline, and they have a compound called CLA, which helps your body to burn fat as well. So eggs are great. Eggs are wonderful. You do want to make sure you're doing pasture raised and chickens that are fed grain that preferably is non-GMO would be the best option with your eggs. Meat and poultry and fish, good. It's good to go. It's good for your body. Even red meat, grass-fed meats are great for your healthier body. They're very high in B vitamins and zinc and selenium. They're also good to help your body burn fat and kind of the building blocks for muscle and tissue in the body. But you want to stick with the principles of grass-fed meats, pasture-raised, organic poultry, wild-caught fish over more conventional raised or farm-raised fish. You want to go more wild-caught and more grass-fed when it comes to your meats. Coconut products, coconut oil, coconut milk, coconut yogurts even are great sources of good fats for the body. Coconut is very good for boosting up your thyroid function. It's also very good for your metabolism, and it's good for brain health as well too. So I use a lot of coconut oil to cook with. I use a lot of coconut milk in my smoothies, like an unsweetened coconut milk. And that's where I get most of my coconut in, is coconut milk and smoothies. And I use coconut oil to cook with. Grass-fed organic dairy, also very high in essential fatty acids, vitamin A, D, E, and K. They help with reducing inflammation, increasing metabolism, and they're good for also gut health, especially cultured grass-fed dairy like yogurt, kefir, or even that Good Culture brand of cottage cheese has good probiotic in there as well too. So these are great. And especially if you can handle dairy well. If not, they do make yogurts out of like cashew milk, and they make yogurts out of other things as well too. So these are some brands that I just kind of want to point out when it comes to nutrition, is that we look at whole milk, grass-fed, Stony Field, vanilla, and then we look at the whole milk, grass-fed, plain. So what you want to watch out for when you go to the store, if you look at that slide, is the amount of added sugar. So if you look at the vanilla, you look at that sugar that's naturally occurring in the milk isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's the added sugar that really spikes up that insulin and creates problems. So if you look at the vanilla, you see how it has 11 grams of added sugar. That is no good. And then the plain has 0 grams of added sugar. If you look over at the barbecue sauce, this is a brand that I like a lot. It's Primal Kitchen. And it has no grams of added sugar. But you look at like a Sweet Baby Ray's, it has 16 grams of added sugar, a sugar bomb. So you want to make sure that's where we get a lot of that in our diet too, where we don't even know it, is it's added into a lot of the foods. So make sure you check the labels for added sugar when it comes to things. It's same thing too with like coffee creamers are also an area where we get a lot of added sugar. If you look at this coffee creamer, it looks natural creamer, real milk and cream, no artificial, but then you read the label and the third ingredient is sugar. So it's got added sugar and 4 grams of added sugar. And then it also has soybean oil, which is a bad oil that's inflammatory. So that's where you got to kind of do your research and look at the labels and buy the good brands with that as well too. So our 30-day challenge to reset the metabolism is I like to make it easy. I like to have a plan, and this is a very simple plan. We've had patients on this plan throughout the years, and they do really well. Just recently, patients are following this plan, following our event, and in that first week or two, they're down 5 pounds, 7 pounds, 10 pounds, just depending on kind of male, female, age, and how hard they're going at it. But you will see results with this plan. So one is you do a protein shake and your daily supplements. That should be, you try to have that be your first meal of the day. That's kind of your break fast. It's not breakfast as far as you have to drink it first thing in the morning. That can be your first meal of the day if you're having it at noon or 1 o'clock during that intermittent fasting schedule. And you can make a super easy shake where you do a scoop of your max greens, a scoop of your protein powder, the max living whey protein. You add 8 ounces of water, some ice, and you shake it up and you drink it just like that. Or you can convert it to more of an easy smoothie where you do the unsweetened coconut milk or almond milk, half a cup of frozen berries or fresh berries, a scoop of the protein, a scoop of the greens, and then ice and water and blend that up in a blender and have a smoothie. It's good if that can be one of your first meals that you're breaking your fast with. That'd be very good for your body. The second part of it, as far as eating goes with the challenge, is you can have 2 advanced plan meals a day. I like to think about those meals as like, one is a true meal, like a protein and a cleaned up veggie, cleaned up protein. The other meal can be more of like a salad, like lunch. It could be snacking on some raw veggies and like a good guacamole or hummus dip. But it could be an easy salad like leafy greens, protein, avocado, veggies, and a healthy dressing. And then the advanced plan meal, clean protein, grass-fed meat or free-range organic chicken, wild-caught fish, and a good veggie side with it. Some people, after they have a smoothie a little bit later in the day, they're good to wait till dinner and one meal. They may not need 2 advanced plan meals, but you can, if you're hungry and you want to have a salad and then your dinner at night, that's good to go too. But it's working on cleaning up when we're eating, cleaning it up, and then tightening up that eating window, trying to push back, not eating first thing in the morning, trying to push that down to 12 o'clock, if you can, 1 o'clock. Even if you can get to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you're really stimulating that autophagy response in the body as well. So with that first meal of the day, like I said, you want to change how you breakfast, break your fast. I think a smoothie is a good way to do it. Super easy smoothie recipe. Kind of, you can make it less than 60 seconds. This is kind of my favorite go-to. Unsweetened coconut milk, frozen berries. You can put kale or spinach, or you can just use a scoop of your max greens, the whey protein, or you could use the bone broth protein, or you can use the plant protein too, and then ice and water and blend it up. Super easy for your kind of first meal. I like easy. I like to make it simple. And then you can consume your supplements when you take your smoothie in the morning as well. Supplements don't break your fasting state. Neither does coffee, as long as you're using a full, like a full fat milk. That could be coconut milk or regular milk. But coffee with creamers that have added sugars, like the one we looked at a little bit ago, that will break your fasting state. So make sure that you're not drinking coffee in the morning with creamers in it, flavored creamers and stuff, that you're just trying to do straight up milk or coconut milk in your coffee with that as well too. So the greens protein, if you're not familiar with it, it is a great product. Every scoop has 4 servings of fruits and vegetables in it. So it has a veggie blend, it has a berry blend, an immunity blend. It even has like mushroom, different types of healthy mushrooms in there for your immune system. Has fiber in there as well too. So it's a good way to kind of clean up your diet with easy greens in your smoothies and stuff too. Advanced plan, I kind of like to just think about this as how do you make it as easy as possible? Here's an easy schedule to follow: your daily smoothie, your daily salad, and your daily meal. Advanced plan. Most people that really succeed at cleaning up their nutrition long-term and staying on track, they don't have this exhausted list of recipes. they have like 6 to 8 recipes that are their staples that they stick with. And you plan ahead, you prepare your meals, you protect your home where you really try to remove a lot of the temptations, and you make it easy and sustainable as well too. So if you are wondering what is advanced plan, what do the meals look like, go to our website, drbenson.maxliving.com. There's a recipe tab, and there are tons of recipes. And you type in advanced plan, you type in dinner, and you'll be able to see all the different recipes that are on there. Even like an advanced plan apple flaxseed muffin that's really good. It's sweetened with stevia and like that shepherd's pie, even an advanced plan no-bake cheesecake. So you shouldn't feel deprived. And there's lots of ways to make it fun and do different. You don't just have to have a piece of meat and a side of veggies. You can make really fun recipes if you want to, or you can keep it super simple, whatever works best for you with that. And then I recommend that this is something I recommended at our event, is doing a healthy lifestyle bundle where you get the protein, you get the greens, so you can kind of have that be your staple where you're making smoothies and having that be one of your easy meals for your day. And then taking your daily essentials, either for men or women, that have the omega-3 fatty acids, that have the vitamin D, the magnesium, the B complex, and then the multivitamins in there as well too. So last thing on there was, about cortisol. So cortisol is the enemy of insulin. So you can't be in a stress state and a state of building health at the same time. So high stress creates a fight or flight response in our bodies, which then creates a release of cortisol, and that elevates your blood sugar. Kind of crazy that cortisol can raise your insulin as much as a piece of cake does. I think that's kind of crazy. So sometimes you may feel like, I don't eat that bad, and why am I still like gaining weight or having trouble losing weight? Well, you're stressed to the max, and it's like your body is still releasing as much insulin as what it would if you were eating cake all the time. So a woman's body is much more sensitive to swings in stress than a man's body. And there's a book called The Rushing Women Syndrome, and it just talks about that and how kind of our constant go lifestyles, constant stressors are really affecting our health. Oxytocin can actually help counteract the bad effects of cortisol in the body. And oxytocin is released with hugging, laughing, petting your dog, holding a baby, being in a state of gratitude, snuggling, meditation, sex, meaningful conversations can release oxytocin, which helps to kind of combat some of the bad effects of cortisol in the body. Another product that I do recommend, especially if you feel like you are a stressed person, more of in that high stress, fight or flight, is Max Fit. Max Fit has ashwagandha that helps with balancing cortisol levels in the body and decreasing cortisol. It will also help improve your insulin sensitivity, and it will help with helping with some of the weight loss as well too. So to recap, is we want to work on cleaning up what we're eating and cleaning up when we're eating. We want to work on trying to do the intermittent fasting where we condense down that eating window at a minimum, push back your first meal of the day till noon, and try to be done eating by 7, 8 o'clock at night, and don't snack before bedtime. And the more you can tighten up that window even more, the more benefits you'll get with more of these deeper, longer fasting states that equates to more benefits in the body as well. With our diet, we clean up what we're eating. We try to go no sugar, especially no added sugar, no grains, really trying to get away from eating cereal and having bread and pastas. Try to go grain-free. You could do things like cauliflower rice. You could do things like zucchini noodles. You can do things like grain-free pastas where they use different type of things like sometimes they'll use quinoa or they'll use chickpeas, or they'll use different things to make pastas from that instead of using wheat flour. And then we add in lots of healthy fats that we talked about earlier. We're adding in lots of good vegetables, and then our low sugar fruits as well. So I hope you implement this. Don't make it harder than what it is. Just get started with it. And if you need any extra support or help, feel free to reach out to our office and reach out to me, and we can get you kind of the extra resources to get you going on the right path to jumpstart your metabolism. So have a wonderful day.